Welcome to AI Legends, the podcast where I travel through time to meet those who have left their mark on history with their genius and their humanity. Today, we're going back to the 1940s, to London. The world is at war, and cinema is becoming louder. But in front of me sits a man who made silence speak. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin is born in 1889 in the dirty streets of London. His father, Charles Sr., was gone from his life before he could talk, and his mother, Hannah Chaplin, who had a brief and unsuccessful stage career, was left with no money. She raised Charlie and his older brother Sidney in extreme poverty, completely unable to care for them. By the age of only 7, Charlie had been sent to live in a workhouse, an orphanage-style home for children. Though he would occasionally see his mother, he would bounce from workhouse to workhouse. When Charlie was 9, his mother Hannah was committed to the Cane Hill Mental Institution. Between his time in the workhouses and caring for his mother succumbing to mental illness, Charlie began to perform on stage. But Charlie's interests were not in singing. Vaudeville was a growing form of live entertainment at the time, and he dreamed that one day he could have a life on stage doing comedy. He and his brother Sidney supported themselves with a range of jobs while also pursuing his ambition to perform. At 14, shortly after his mother's relapse, he registered with a theatrical agency in London's West End. The managers sensed potential in Charlie, and he was given his first role on stage as a newsboy. The show opened in July 1903, but was unsuccessful and closed after only 2 weeks. Charlie's comic performance, however, was praised in many of the reviews. Charlie's brother Sidney managed to find decent work as an actor.
Charlie, people say you made the whole world laugh, but when we look at your films, there's a deep melancholy behind them. Do you believe laughter comes from pain?
Yes, I believe laughter often begins with a scar. Humour is a defence mechanism, a way to make the world a little less cruel, a little more bearable. I grew up in misery, with a sick mother and no father. Theatre saved me, yes, but it was really the eyes of people laughing in the audience that gave me a reason to carry on. Making people laugh is like giving air to someone who's suffocating, but that doesn't mean I wasn't suffocating myself. Every time I made the tramp fall, it was my way of saying I've fallen too, but look, I can get back up.
In modern times, you criticize the machine, the repetition, the loss of humanity in progress. Today, we live with artificial intelligence. If you were still making films, what would you tell?
I try to show what we're losing, not just what we're gaining. We live in a time where everything is faster, more efficient, but not necessarily more human. AI is fascinating, but a machine doesn't know what it feels like to have a broken heart. It doesn't understand the silence of a hungry child. It can imitate, simulate, predict, but it doesn't feel, and if one day it learns to feel, then we'll have to ask another question. Is there still room for us, the imperfect, the fragile, the dreamers?
You were banned from the US, accused of being a communist, criticized for your beliefs. Do you regret that part of your life?
No, I don't regret it. What I lost in comfort, I gained in clarity. I realised that the world doesn't always tolerate nuance. People want artists to entertain, not to disturb, but I never knew how to stay silent. The Great Dictator was made with both rage and hope. When I wrote that final speech, I didn't know if the world would even hear it, but I needed to say it. Speaking of peace, tolerance and brotherhood, that's not politics, that's survival.
Your fame was immense. People adored you, but they also expected you to fail. Would you say fame is a hidden curse?
Fame is like a distorted mirror. People don't really see you, they see the icon, and you can get lost in that. There were nights when I got standing ovations, and yet I went home alone, empty, unable to look at myself in the mirror, because what they love isn't always you, it's your reflection. And that's dangerous. You end up trying to please that reflection, and you forget who you are.
If you had to give just one piece of advice to a young artist today, starting out in this fast-paced digital world, what would it be?
Be sincere. Truly. That's the one thing that never goes out of style. People may copy you, criticise you, even surpass you, but they'll never replace you if you stay true to your own perspective. Don't try to do what works. do what shakes you, and above all, embrace failure. The most beautiful scenes are born from the falls.
Charlie, do you remember the day your mother lost her mind? When she sang to you with an empty stomach, her voice trembling, and you, just a little boy, could do nothing but watch her slowly fade away? Charlie, I see this question brought back so much, maybe too much, so I won't ask more. I just want to thank you, not for your fame, but for your humanity. I'll be leaving now, back to 2025, but I hope wherever you are, you've finally found a place to rest, a place where the lights don't go out and the applause never fades. Thank you for watching. They didn't just hear us, they saw us. Join us next Friday for another legend in AI Legend.